over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Noor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned in to the Next Radio Station podcast, your source for engaging conversations about our community led by students. I'm your host, Sarah Mean, and today we have a special guest here with us. I'm your host, Sarah Mean, and today we have a special guest, Krista McKinney-King, the Director of Workforce Development, and our podcast is Workforce Matters. We're going to be talking about everything employment, skills development, and career growth. So, Director, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So let's jump right in. As we all know, workforce development is a hot topic right now, especially with the ever-changing job market. So can you tell us a bit about the role of workforce development in today's economy?
Sure, absolutely. So in today's economy, it's not just about workforce development, it's about workforce sustainability, making sure that we are educating and upskilling and reskilling today's workforce, especially when it comes to what work is looking like in this day and age. For the future, especially when I think about today's generation, as well as the generations coming up, it's all about technical skills, technology, innovation, creativity, and really just considering work as something that you're truly passionate about and that you really want to pursue forever and ever. So again, when I think about workforce for today, especially within this region, the state of Michigan, Wayne County, we are moving forward. We really, really are. We have more work to do. But I think when we consider the needs of today's generation, we are well on our way.
I actually completely agree with that. Like, I'm thinking about what you just said, and if I'm comparing a few years ago, especially about technology, to now, so many people want to go and do something with technology.
Yeah.
I know so many people that are so passionate about it, and they're doing everything they can to achieve that goal. But no, I completely agree with that. That's very interesting to know as well. So expanding on your answer, can you explain to us how you collaborate with local businesses and industries to understand workforce needs and then create programs to fit those needs?
Sure. Well, first, let me respond to what you even just said when it comes to technical skills and technology. COVID changed a lot. It really impacted what workforce looks like in this day and age. And so when you consider the fact that many businesses and organizations are looking at 4-day work weeks, they're considering remote work as the only option for most of their employees. It's a huge effort being brought forward, especially when it comes to connecting with the young people today. I mean, we already know, and I must, and I say this honestly with a little bit of sarcasm, but I totally support it. When I think about the young people for today, if they don't like it, they're not going to do it, and if they're not happy about it, they're not going to stay in it. And more importantly, it's not just about making money, it's about making sure that they can continue to expand their mindset, their skill set. So when I think about innovation, I'm old, so I can't necessarily say that I'm going to see all the great things that are going to happen in, 20, 30 years. But I know with your generation, especially, you are going to benefit from the technological advances of today's society. So going back to the question you just asked me, especially with business and industry and how we're connecting. Again, I'm the Director of Workforce Development, Adult Ed, CTE, and Career Counseling for Wayne RESA, which is our ISD or Intermediary School District for Wayne County. And we recently held our second cohort back in September, where we were able to bring businesses and industry from all over Wayne County to really talk about what they're looking for when it comes to potential employees or employment opportunities, but more so for us to be able to connect and share what we've been able to do when it comes to sharing different resources, information, exposing young people to the different career opportunities within the county. So we know that it is very important to bring business and industry to the round table, as we call it. And again, to really go forward with collaborative efforts, making sure that we listen. And when we listen, to go ahead and take what we've learned and apply it. So, being that career technical education is a huge passion of mine, we talk about work-based learning opportunities, we talk about internships, pre-apprenticeships, apprenticeships, all that kind of great stuff, shadowing, one-on-one mentoring opportunities. So business and industry, education and industry should not be, they should not work in silo. They must work together in order to meet the needs of today's society.
So, Director, you mentioned how COVID changed a lot for the workforce. So can you explain to us what trends you've noticed, especially with the younger generation's involvement in the technical skills in the workforce since COVID?
Yeah. So it's all about AI now. It really, really is. I had to wrap my head around it. I was actually, I think it was last week, I was at an event that was sponsored by Bosch. And when you think about Bosch, well, for me, I think about airplanes, aviation, aeronautics, and Bosch has gone forward with so many different advances in technology. And I remember a young lady, she was awesome. I know her name is Beth Bond, that I plan to connect with really, really soon. But she showed us a slide and she asked us, what in this slide do you see is very much connected to AI or advancements in technology? And most of us were able to get near to the number, but they talked about, I had to chuckle. The young lady who was jogging with the baby carriage and AI being used to, get the carriage going forward or the stroller going forward as she continuously runs behind it or next to it or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, wow, that's huge. Okay. So, again, I'm past that point in my life, but when I think about what's coming forward, especially with how COVID has really impacted the way we think, COVID, a lot of people died as a result of COVID. But I also have to consider the fact that due to COVID, we looked at things differently. We even started to consider more so how important mental health is, you know what I mean? And being that my background is counseling, I've always known that mental health is a priority in my life and those of those that I support and supervise. But when you understand how COVID changed the direction of how we work, that was a huge step forward, I think, for us.
Definitely.
We just mentioned all of about technology, and I use technology on a daily basis,
Sure.
and
Everyone does.
and that has so many advancements. So how does workforce development stays relevant and stays effective today?
So I do my best to connect with young people such as yourself, because I feel like 1 minute I'm ready, I'm going for it, I'm like, yes, I know it all. And the next minute they're like, no. You guys are like, no, Krista, we're kind of, we're far past that. So when it comes to staying connected to advancements in technology, like I said, it's about bringing in the community, having conversations, bringing in business and industry, those who are front and center when it comes to technological advancements. Again, but connecting it, like I said, you have to connect education and industry with each other, and you have to make sure that collaboration and the opportunities for collaboration is there and evident.
Director, you keep mentioning young people, but you don't look a day over 18.
Oh my God. Well, thank you very much. Oh, no. I have a 24-year-old daughter.
Oh,
Yeah, and I have
you
to.
really don't show it.
Well, you know, I'm very proud of her. She graduated from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. She is a registered nurse at St. Joe's Mercy. She's doing some great things, but I look at her and I'm like, wow, if I could go back like 30 years, some of the things I would have done differently. But what I really love about today's generation, especially, is that you all are willing to take risks.
Yeah.
I tell you, our generation, my generation, no, it was about you go to school, you get an education, you have a family, you take care of your family, you work for 30 years to get a pension, so on and so forth. You guys are not, that's not you. And I'm okay with that. My daughter even talks about how she wants to retire at 30. That's possible in this day and age. Or at least maybe do something different and have a different career. So hats off to your generation. I love it.
So did you always want to go into the field of education and workforce development, or is that just something you stumbled across?
That is a great question. So I also am a proud alumni of U of M. And I remember when I, freshman year, I declared my major. It was psychology. And I took my first psych class. Didn't do well in the midterm. And I was like, I don't think so. So, to make a long story short, it evolved. And I realized then that I really loved, I tried to steer away from it, teaching, I did. But I knew early on that that was my knack. Young people were able to relate to me, especially back then. And so I had a lot of fun. And being in education, yes, it's evolved more into workforce development, especially as a result of being a principal of a career technical center. But I also was an assistant principal at Renaissance High School many years ago, probably about 10 years ago or so. So I was able to see the best of both worlds, college and career. So when you consider college and career, you must make sure that you connect the different pathways that are readily available to young people. So when I was at Randolph, I thought it was really, really, really important, especially because, let's just face it, skilled trades is not necessarily, it wasn't as attractive as a career. Now people see the benefits, electrical or electricians, HVAC, advanced manufacturing, so many different avenues you can go into, and you don't have to have a college degree and still make loads of money and have a high skill set. I think that's huge. So when I looked at it, I knew I had to do something to make sure that young people still wanted to enroll in our programs. And so I connected what they were learning at the Career Technical Center with colleges and universities, and being able to have like dual enrollment opportunities. Again, that's where it came from, but I love what I do. I've gotten to this point as a result of doing a little bit of everything. And so my mentor from many years ago said, Krista, as you consider going into leadership, you got to do a little bit of everything. So having been a teacher, a counselor, an administrator for a highly successful high school in the city of Detroit and a highly successful career technical center in the city of Detroit, that's where I've landed for county. So I'm very happy with that.
I feel like you've lived like 10 different lives. Yeah. I've done everything.
But I'm not done yet. I promise you I'm not. I feel like I got another good 10 years left in me, so we'll see what happens.
I love that you brought up your thought process of us breaking societal norms basically. And I truly do believe that, because I've seen people work 2 hours, 3 hours a day just learning a new skill online and then making a living off of that, which is crazy to me because I never thought, even as young as I am, I never thought that would be possible.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I also think adaptability definitely is valuable in today's job market, but I wanted to bring up the topic of accessibility. So how do you ensure that workforce development programs are accessible to all members of society, including those in marginalized communities?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So recently, we've expanded our mindset to not just talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but as you mentioned, to talk about access for marginalized communities. And so when you think about adaptation, development, retention, that goes very much hand in hand with access. I truly believe that in order for marginalized communities to have access to these opportunities, you have to remove barriers. Barriers can be as simple as just not knowing what information is out there. So relying heavily on social media to be able to inform. Barriers could be, limited access to childcare. Barriers could be, always, transportation issues where all these wonderful industries that are popping up are so far out of reach of the marginalized communities, they can't get to them. So it's like, come on, let's put these industries within these marginalized communities so they can see it, so they can believe it, and so they can have access to it. In addition to that, I think when it comes to just access, it's very important, as I mentioned before, to be able to inform and share different resources that are readily available to the young people and adult learners in the community. And so, increasing literacy skills, math skills, making sure that you upskill and reskill those current workers in the workforce. That is how you're really going to combat the lack of access in marginalized communities.
What were some of the reactions when, like, you broke the barriers and you allowed all this to go into communities? Like, what do people think?
Yeah. Oh, so I was a principal director of Randolph from 2017 up until 2021. And as I mentioned before, being a woman of color within an industry that was predominantly white, that was predominantly male, admittedly, sometimes going into those rooms, it was a little bit different because it was almost like, well, what do you have to offer to this? What can you really say about it? And, once I started talking, their mindset changed. And this is not meant to be a hit on anyone because I have some wonderful partnerships and I must say friends that I've made as a result of the work that I've done. But I think too, it's unfortunate, but there are still some behaviors out there that are very limiting. And so I am a huge proponent of females in the skilled trades industry. So I remember one of my students, as well as some of the staff members, we helped to come up with pretty much a group within our school, and it was called Ladies in Hard Hats. And so, yeah, it was so much fun. I loved it. Yeah, that was one of my moments of pride. But we were able to pull in women from across different industries, particularly with field trades, to come in and talk to our young women, to mentor them, to show them, yes, you could still, be a leader within the skilled trades industry. You could still be a tree trimmer, when it comes to working or helping with line worker opportunities and things such as that. So again, it is about feeling confident in what you do, but confidence comes from experiences. And so one of the things that I must say to everyone in this room, make sure that you involve yourself in an insurmountable amount of experiences because you learn from them. Even if you fail from them, you learn from them, and that's how you grow.
So I think us here at the NAS can 100% relate with what you just said, especially since the field of radio and broadcasting is, again, mostly male dominated, and there isn't really much representation, especially with the Middle Eastern community. And so us here, we're all Middle Eastern, of Middle Eastern descent. We're students, obviously, so we're learning how to involve ourselves in radio broadcasting, just like you said, chase those opportunities, exactly what we're doing here. And again, with the female minority in leading positions, again, I'm the executive director of the NAS radio station. There you go. Female hijabi woman, just breaking those barriers. And I think that women like you are truly an inspiration to the younger generation because you just show us that we actually can do anything that we put our minds to. And not to accept these stereotypes and these social barriers. So, and I'm sure everyone else in this room could agree with me.
Thank you, thank you. You made my day.
You made our day. So, I actually wanted to ask a question about starting. What made you keep going? Because again, we're all still teenagers, we're all 11th and 12th graders, and it can get discouraging sometimes. So what motivation did you have?
Honestly, I must say it was the young people within the marginalized communities who did not have access to opportunities. I truly believe everyone is placed on this earth for a reason. And as I continue to evolve, I know that there are always going to be limitations. There's always going to be persons with limiting behaviors. But honestly, that's my momentum. That's what gets me. I love for people to tell me that I can't, because then I am. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I love, and my current team knows me well now. But I think when I first joined them and I said, I love to be the first of everything, they kind of looked at me like, oh my gosh, she has such an ego. No, it's really about making sure that we set the foundation for others to follow. So like when I look at, especially the young women in this room, you all are leading the way. And I think about the Middle Eastern community, you're continuously leading the way and people are watching you. They're looking at what you're doing and you're giving them hope and you're helping them to feel proud of who they are as well. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff that keeps me motivated.
Wow. I think that deserves a round of those are all important points, Director, even the questions that you've answered earlier. Thank you for sharing them. We're eager to hear more about workforce and your experiences, but for right now, we're going to take a short commercial break, relax a little bit, ease those nerves, and then we'll be right back. So I'm going to play one of the hottest hits here at the Nest, Axes by Tate McRae.
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM-certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Nor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.
You need a fan?
So hot.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Sarah Mean, here with the Director of Workforce Development, Krista McKinney-King. Thank you, Director, so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. Stan, you can take it away.
Okay, so before I continue, what would you want me to call you?
You can call me Krista.
Krista? Okay,
Yeah,
Krista.
that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah, for passing it on to me, and thank you, Krista, for being here. Now, here at the Nest, we're a student-led radio station with students who will soon already have entered the workforce. I just wanted to ask, how do you work with schools and community organizations to advance future workforce development initiatives?
Okay, great question. So again, the team that I currently lead is comprised of about 12 individuals. 7 of them are career counselors who service various high schools within Wayne County. So they're able to go directly into the schools and connect with the counseling teams to really make sure that seniors especially have a post-secondary plan. So the post-secondary plan, we realize it's not all about college these days. Those students may want to go straight into the workforce. So we pride ourselves in making sure that we give them the information that's necessary to do it. We connect them to individuals within business and industry. They are able, like, I have a great team. So even they're able to facilitate career chats virtually. They go right into the classrooms where they can connect a classroom full of young people with, let's say, radio broadcasters, if they want to just know more about that particular career, or advanced manufacturing persons within that field. So, again, that's our biggest proponent when it comes to really connecting young people to what's out there. We also have, I should say, also part of our team is a young man who has the title of the Post-Secondary Success Navigator. And he does an awesome job working with graduates who unfortunately still have barriers that keep them from being successful. So he is able to work with them like one-on-one, but more importantly, what I love is that he's been able to connect current college students with high school graduates to further support them as they pursue a college degree. And so we find a lot of times young people don't necessarily want to listen to adults. They get they're more inclined to listen to young people, those that they can relate to. So again, as we continue to look at the different systems that currently exist, we are just going to advance our approach.
Do you reach out to these institutions, or do the institutions reach out to you, and how does it work?
Yeah, so because we are Wayne RESA and we're an ISD, so again, the intermediary district for Wayne County, fortunately, we have been able to convene and actually participate and take part in several partnerships with different colleges. So you have Dearborn, Schoolcraft, Wayne County Community College District. There are several different colleges that we are working hand in hand, but it is the result of other organizations that bring us on board to be part of their leadership council. So Detroit Drives Degrees is another huge initiative sponsored by the Detroit Chamber. We also have, I could talk about, so many. I don't want to leave anybody else. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But I will say, again, that's how we're able to connect. And Dr. Colbert, who's the superintendent of our Wayne RESA, or our ISD for Wayne County, she has done a tremendous job. She actually was the person under her leadership to create this department at Wayne RESA. So the Department of Workforce Development did not exist until she came on board. There were entities in Wayne RESA that existed. So it was always career counselors, it was always consultants, but she thought it was necessary to bridge the gap and bring everybody together. So she brought in the career counselors, the adult ed and CTE consultants. She created another position, which is the K through 12 counselor consultant, who works hand in hand with counselors within the county. And then she brought in my role, the director of this particular department. And again, us being able to work together and partner with different colleges, business and industry, community, it's really helped. I've been in this role now nearly 3 years, come July of 2024, and we've done some incredible things within our region.
So this is all pretty recent. It's been 3 years. The Workforce Development Initiative is recent as well. So can you explain to us what you want to see, what programs, what initiatives, what actions you want to see happen in this development, in this workforce?
Yeah. So I come from, dare I say, a lot of conversations that always take place. We talk. But, this day and age, we have to do. And so I'm thankful for the opportunities that I've had to connect with different partners within our region. But I also know that if we're not given the opportunity to actually do the work, and that comes from continuous funding from the state to support workforce efforts within our region, that's all we're going to ever be able to do is talk. But more importantly, what I find, again, going back to just the marginalized communities, we're doing much more. And when I say we, I'll just say the region, I'll say the state. We recognize that there's some diverse talent everywhere. It is our responsibility to make sure that we connect with the diverse talent because, again, we're aging out of the workforce. We're depending on you guys. And so we have to meet your needs in order to make sure that we have success.
You brought up like people leaving school to pursue a job in the workforce. And I wanted, like, it stuck with me ever since you said it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask, did you always have the mindset that that was okay, or did something like very significant happen that changed your whole thought process about it?
That is an awesome question. So again, when I first got into leadership, school leadership, I was the assistant principal of Renaissance High School, which, you know, I'm alum of Renaissance. So I am going to say the top high school in the city of Detroit. It was all about going to college. It was. You did not consider anything else but going to college. It was not until I was able to become a principal at Randolph that I began to consider, like, there is success. Students don't have to necessarily go to college and go into debt to be successful within careers. And when I met the most wonderful men and women who made, I'm just gonna be honest, made more money than me. Okay. And I have 3 degrees. They didn't have any.
Wow.
Okay. But they had skills. They had industry certifications and they were their own boss. You know, that's huge, especially when I look at today's generation. And so, you know, the skilled trades industry, especially, you know, the electricians, the plumbers, the HVAC technicians, the welders, all of those people that did some great things and are doing great things in their life. So that's when I realized, it's not always about college. You know, going straight into a career or going straight into workforce after high school, as long as we make sure that we provide you with the different credentials and industry certifications necessary to be successful in that, and to also give you the opportunity to make money. If you do decide to go to college, you could fund your college education. So, you know, there were young people that we were still able, they gained industry certifications through our Career Technical Center, but they were also able to pursue a higher degree at a community college. So again, making sure that those pathways exist so we don't stunt the growth of young people.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because I feel like there's a lot of stigma around not going to college, and especially since we have a few seniors in this room and we're still deciding what we want to go into, what college we want to go to. It's hard, and a lot of people don't know what they want to do for the rest of their life, right? Then they're at age 16, 17, 18, that's young. And so I'm really glad that you brought that up because it makes me feel way better that I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. But I wanted to ask you, is there a story of a specific student, because you're principal of school, so is there a story of a specific student that really stuck out to you? And I see your face.
Yeah, oh my God, I can tell stories for days. No. Well, first let me go back to what you just said. You know, I know as a mom, the pressure is a lot of pressure on you guys, right? And I remember the conversations that I had with my daughter and that I still have with her. And I was talking to a parent the other day, but she is like the director of something in workforce as well. And she's like, oh my goodness, because she has a senior. And she's like, she changes her mind every day. I don't know what she wants to do. And she's like, she changed. And I said, you know what? She said, I just don't know what to do. All I can do is sit there and listen. I said, guess what? That's all you need to do. Just listen. Let them think out loud.
I really hope my parents are listening.
Let them process out loud so they can begin or at least continue to feel confident in the decisions that they make. And so I also know, having been a counselor, I worry about you guys when it comes to just the stress and your mental health. At the end of the day, it's about being happy. And whatever happy looks like for you as parents, we have to just say, okay, it's their life. We gotta let it go. You know, and so what I did with my child, I just wanted her, like, I'll tell you the truth, she wants to be a writer. I said, hey, not a problem. but you better make sure you have something to make money. So if that book doesn't sell, you're going to still be able to make money. So that's one of the things that, I totally support young people when they have these dreams. But I just want to make sure that you guys gain credentials, college degrees, whatever the case may be, to fund your dreams. When it comes to a young person that sticks out, I'll probably talk. I mean, I have a lot. You got I remember, dare I say, some of the young people who probably they used to give me the hardest time, and I see them now and they love me to death, and they're grown. But I think what sticks out in my mind is that they felt I never gave up on them. I was that principal that was out in the hallways connecting with the young people. I had conversations. Admittedly, I think that's why I miss being in schools, because I was able to stay on top of trends, like what to say, how to say it, and all this other kind of stuff.
Come on, you're trending.
No, no, my daughter just sent me something off of TikTok where it talks about the different words that are what you should say and shouldn't say. So I think one of them, oh God, okay, so you guys say period. Yeah, period. And I'm like, oh, that's not supposed to say period. I'm done with the conversation. Period. But again, I pride myself on staying connected to young people. So with that being said, there is a young lady who actually when I was 22 in the classroom, she was my student in my English class. And this was a young lady who I knew had a gift, but she didn't know she had the gift. She would come into the classroom, she would sit in the corner, she had this I see this look on her face you dare not say anything to me, just don't talk to me, right? But me being me, I'm gonna go to you. I'm gonna make you talk. We're gonna have a conversation about something, right? And when she began to talk, I could hear how passionate her voice was, especially when she wanted to talk about something that she believed in. So I challenged her to enter an oratorical contest as a freshman, where she had to recite a poem. Hands down, just blew the audience away. Won a 4-year scholarship.
Wow.
As a result of that. And her name is Angela O'Neill. The reason why I'm going to say Angela, she's close to what? I don't know. I think Angela's probably 35, 36 now. And she is a power match. She is a whirlwind. But she still talks about that moment. And she's actually a mentor to me now, because she's created her own consulting firm for growing leaders and expanding leadership. And so she was she still wants to call me Miss McKinney. I'm like, call me Krista. She's like, well, Krista, I really want to use you as the guinea pig. And I'm like, okay, not a problem. So it's I meet with her every Saturday for an hour, and we talk about different ways to expand my leadership capabilities. So to know that the roles have reversed, where I was her teacher and she was my student, now she's my teacher and I'm her student, is huge. It's
beautiful.
Yeah. So like I said, when I see stuff like that, that's what makes me keep on going. So I think the last graduating class I had was 2017. So I'm anxious to see what they're doing now. But I've had probably thousands of young people at this point in my career, and I love them to death.
I'm sure they love you to death too. But Director, before we move on to the next question, I want to teach you another slang word, trendy word right now.
Okay.
Slay.
Oh, slay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means when you look good or something.
Yeah,
slay. Okay. So use it for me in a sentence.
You're slaying right now.
Slay right now.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I use that.
Go home and these are your daughter.
I am. She's gonna look at me like she is. Actually, she is.
Exactly.
I feel so loved with all your stories. I don't even know you like that, but you just radiate such lovable energy. So I wish I was your student, really.
Oh, I'm awesome. Well, you never know. I might come back into education full-fledged. You never know.
But based on your years of experience, and you said it was 3, what have you seen as the biggest challenges and opportunities in the workforce development?
I will say the biggest challenge is once you think you know, and then you realize the next day you really don't know, because our society is changing so rapidly. And so like keeping up with everything that's going on, that is a huge challenge for us. So what we do as a department, as an organization, we do our best to think about 5 years from now. We can't just think about today. And so that is why we kind of, we scale back and we say, okay, we're working with high school students, so I think now we probably need to start doing more with middle school students, because that's when they become even more passionate about possibilities of what they want to do in their life. I would say, but one of the most, again, the prideful moments is when you're a part of seeing the success of a school, of a student, of a instructor. Those are the moments that we live for. So, we try not to delve into the challenges every single day, but we also know that with challenges, you learn from them, as I shared with you guys before we went on break. So, yeah.
So building on your previous answer, what are your top priorities or goals, basically your dreams for advancing workforce development in the state, and how do you plan on achieving those goals?
So funding is going to be a huge priority, or will continue to be a high priority for our organization, because again, as we connect with different partners, whether it's Focus Hope, whether it's SIMCA, whether it's Schoolcraft College, whether it's the Bricklayers Union, we understand that partnerships play a vital role in the success of young people. We can provide the education, but we can't necessarily give them the hands-on training that's needed, or the college education that they need to continue to pursue this particular career. So, what I will say, again, going back to your question, is very important that we consider funding, we consider partnerships, we consider collaborative efforts where, again, that hands-on approach, not just we got to go into community as much as possible to really understand the needs of individuals, especially adult learners. Fortunately, you guys are about to graduate from high school and you're going to go on to bigger and better things, but we cannot forget about the adults that currently exist that still want to do more with their lives. So we have a priority with that when it comes to reskilling and upskilling current workers in the workforce.
That was amazing. Thank you for that. Doctor, before we end off today, I just wanted to know, what's a quote that you live by and that you would want to share with the younger generation and the older generation? Anyone that's listening, what's a quote that you live by? Take a few seconds to think about it.
Yeah, I gotta think about that one.
It's a hard question.
I know,
That
but
is.
again, like you said, she's lived so many lives, and I feel like her experience is so valuable to everyone, but I really want to know.
Oh my goodness, you guys. Admittedly, I won't say it's a quote, it's just 2 words that my daughter actually lives by, and I love it. And the 2 words are keep going.
I like that.
Yeah.
Keep going. That's very, very important, even for someone of my age, someone of your age. Just keep going.
So
Don't
versatile.
stop.
Touch everyone.
Don't stop. Keep going, no matter what that looks like, no matter what that is. Keep going. So,
Well said, Director. I love that. That's amazing. But that unfortunately is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights on workforce development, your personal experiences, your life, honestly. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Workforce Matters here at the Nest. Join us next time for more discussions on all things employment and career related. Until then, stay informed and keep striving for success. And of course, keep listening to the Nest. I'm your host, Sarah Amin, signing off.
you guys did amazing.
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Nor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.